Barry Odom, you done good. Can you do better? Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, previewing all the schedules, ranking them 70 all the way up to number 1, which will bring us to the conclusion of this series and right into our previews and predictions for 2018. This is the 24th most difficult schedule in college football. It belongs to the Mizzou Tigers, and it's the 4th most difficult in the SEC. Here are the reasons why. Missouri has to play Alabama. So, of course, they play everyone in the Eastern Division, which means Georgia and South Carolina in particular, and possibly a rejuvenated Florida program under Dan Mullen. Now, in the SEC Western Division, Missouri gets the benefit of playing Arkansas, which has been a good team in the past and maybe in the future, but right now is down. So Mizzou benefits from playing Arkansas each and every year, and that game is in Columbia, the final day of the season, November 24th, and it's typically moved to that Friday after Thanksgiving. But Alabama's come up in the rotation now. This is Missouri's 7th season in the SEC, and of course, they started off with Alabama in 2012, and the rotation comes up every 6 years because they always play Arkansas, so it rotates with the other 6 teams in the SEC West, so it's Alabama for you. And that game in Tuscaloosa on October 13th. So those are the 2 games, the best and the worst of the SEC West for Mizzou. Outside of the conference, Mizzou rarely schedules difficult games. They've played a lot of UConn and BYU. Last year against a Purdue team that we would have expected Missouri would have been able to handle, especially at home, and they got completely trucked by the Boilers and Jeff Brom, 35-3. So they get payback possibility at Purdue September 15th, and that's part of their toughest stretch of games this season. So there's an open date between these 4 games, but it's Purdue, Georgia, South Carolina, and Alabama for the Missouri Tigers. Again, at Purdue, Georgia at home, open date at South Carolina, at Alabama. 3 of 4 on the road against the best teams in the SEC and especially in the East. Mizzou plays UT Martin to open the season. They're an FCS school. Wyoming in week 2, that's probably roughly the 80th best team in the country. And then later in the season, a game against Memphis, and the Tigers have been very good out of the American Conference. Went to a bowl game, won 10 games, almost beat Iowa State in the bowl game last year. So Memphis is no joke, but it's a team that Missouri should beat. Not saying they're going to beat them. They're probably not as good as Memphis right now. And so that's the struggle for the Tigers. Down the stretch, it's all SEC Eastern Division foes before Arkansas, as they have to win the games against Kentucky, Florida, Vandy, and Tennessee down the stretch to maintain their postseason streak of 1. As Barry Odom turned in a nifty 7-5 campaign last year. Let's see what they've got this year after the Bull loss to Texas to make it 7-6. That's our take on Missouri's schedule. It's the 24th most difficult schedule in college football. It's number 4 in the SEC. Would love to hear your take on our schedule rankings. And keep in mind that once we get through the schedules, we're going to work back through and preview all the teams with personnel breakdowns as we do better than anybody else right here at Mark Rogers TV, and predict all the standings across the Power 5 and the major independents right here on Mark Rogers TV.